Hi, class. So we're going to continue talking about epithelial tissue. Just kind of keep in mind that epithelial tissue is lining tissue. This is going to form the surfaces of a lot of organs. It's going to be lining the internal ducts and tubes that are found in your body, like blood vessels, like in your digestive tract. And also one of the biggest ones is your skin, all right? That's the whole boundary that surrounds you. Largest organ in the body. We're going to talk about the integumentary system next, and that would be the stratified squamous epithelium. So if you look right here, this is your stratified squamous epithelium. This is a tissue that is made out of many multiple layers. Remember, stratified means multiple layers, and squamous means that the cells are generally going to be flattened shaped, okay? The bottom layers are going to divide, so if you kind of look right here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight maybe kind of the boundary. This would be your basement membrane here. Okay. So everything below this yellow line is going to be more your connective tissue, whereas from here on out, this is going to be your stratified squamous epithelium. Right? That's going to be up here, and this is going to be just connective tissue. You know, that's what binds the skin to the bottom layers. Okay, so if you look right here, these cells are a little bit actually more cube shaped at the bottom. All right, they would be more cube shaped, but this is stratified squamous epithelium. So what happens is that cells go up, they divide more quick, they divide. What happens is that the cells become flattened, they become more pancake-like. Look at that guy right there. There you go. Like that guy. Very pancake-like. Actually, the cells start to die until eventually they become, they fluff off on your dead skin. But they keep on dividing here at the basement membrane. We will talk a lot more about this process later on when we talk about the integumentary system. But this is also going to be found in your mouth and throat as well. Like this isn't very thick. This probably is going to be in either like your mouth or maybe throat area. So probably not skin. Maybe like a thinner layer of skin, but I guess I'm not 110% sure on that. Come on. There we go. All right, stratified cuboidal epithelium. Stratified multiple layer cuboidal means or cube-shaped epithelium, right? You know what that is. Here, throw it on again. Let's find that basement membrane, right here. If you kind of look at it, it's kind of winding around, right? Epithelium does not always form nice boundaries, right? It kind of looks confusing. Actually, if you actually look at this would actually be called the lumen a lot of the times. It's like the inside of a blood vessel, inside of, your urethra, stuff like that. So, but that yellow boundary, that's going to be your basement membrane, right? That's going to separate your epithelial tissue, right, kind of on the left, on the inside, that darker purple with the light pink, which is your epithelial, which is your connective tissue, stuff like that, all that good stuff. So this is going to consist of 2 or 3 layers of cuboidal cells. Here you can really only see about 2, about 1 here, 1 there, right, 1 here, 1 there, right? Also going to form larger ducts of like the mammary glands, so that'd be in the breasts as well as in the sweat glands. Those things are going to be secreting different substances, right? And we'll kind of talk a little bit about what those things secrete later on. But they're going to kind of release these their substances into like these ducts, where then it kind of gets pushed out, onto the skin and stuff like that. Stratified columnar epithelium, multiple layers of columnar-shaped cells generally, and also it's kind of similar to the stratified squamous epithelium, like this, like here. Let me draw the basement membrane. About right there. That one's very defined, right? If you look at these cells kind of on the bottom, You know, they're a bit more cube shaped, and then the ones up top are going to be more stratified or more elongated, more columnar shaped, right? But still, it's multiple layers, right? Multiple layers. So that's going to be called the stratified columnar epithelium. This is one of the cell tissue types that you will not have to identify in the practical. To me, it looks a lot like spherostratified columnar, but anyway, they are different. This is going to be found in the male urethra and in parts of the pharynx. Basically the basal layer, the one that's connected to more of your basement membrane, that's what that basal means, are going to be more cube shaped, and then the ones up top are going to be columnar, right? But if you kind of look at it, right, your stratified cuboidal epithelium, both layers are going to be cube shaped, whereas this, only the top layer is columnar shaped, okay? All right, last epithelial tissue we're going to talk about is transitional epithelium. Transitional epithelium, this is a specialized tissue that changes in response to increased tension. So these tissues, all right, a lot of the times, kind of under normal conditions, they're going to be more boxed, they're going to be more cuboidal shaped, right? But under pressure, what can happen is that, like, for example, this is a lot of times going to be found in like the urinary bladder, ureter, right? Kind of think about your bladder filling up, right? It's kind of like a big balloon, so if there's a lot of urine in there, right, it's going to put some pressure on these cells, right? So what happens is that these can actually change. They kind of become a little bit, smaller, thinner, right, due to the increased tension from the urine, which kind of causes the cells to get a little flattened, okay? So here you can kind of see this is kind of like the inside of like maybe the ureter, okay? The ureter is a tube. It's kind of showing right here that kind of transports urine. Remember, urine is filtered blood from the kidney to the bladder, right? And if there would be some urine or something going through, this would kind of cause this opening to get bigger, right, and kind of flatten these cells a little bit and kind of change their shape, okay? Almost think of it as a little bit of like spongy, right? It's a little bit of a spongy shape, so kind of due to pressure, it can kind of change its shape, okay? Oh, I guess there's one more epithelium tissue. Sorry. Psych. Glandular epithelium. This is composed of cells that are specialized to produce and secrete substances into ducts or onto bodily fluids. One or more of these cells are called a gland. All right, so if you look right in here, these kind of indents are going to be, if you look right in here, you can kind of see like these glandular cells. They almost kind of look like goblet cells, right? But they're going to be found in here. They're going to be creating things like sweat. They're going to be creating things they're going to be found in the digestive system, other sorts of things, but they are basically going to create things that are going to be secreted into ducts or into the body fluids. Body fluids would kind of be like more of like hormones and stuff like that. That would be more of your glands, like more for cell communicating like into the blood, okay? But one or more of these cells are called a gland. A lot of times there's some glands that you might hear that are pretty much just glands, like a pituitary gland, adrenal gland, thyroid gland. All right, so these things are pretty much just making hormones that are secreted, whereas other things like the liver, right, has a lot of different jobs. That is technically a gland as well. Pancreas, testes and ovaries, right, all those things are glands too. So exocrine gland, there's two types of glands. There's exocrine glands and then there's endocrine glands. Exocrine glands secrete their products into ducts that are open onto some sort of internal or external surface. So if you look right here, you have this, little pocket, right? And these cells are going to be producing, a certain chemical, a certain product into this area, and then that is going to be secreted into some sort of duct. All right. So if you look right here. Right. That duct is going to then, this could be like your sweat pore, right? Could be your a tear duct. This could be like what your saliva ducts, all sorts of things, and then they just kind of dump into some sort of internal external surface. So this would also be found in your digestive system. All right, all sorts of stuff. So exocrine, they secrete into ducts. I don't know. So exocrine ducts. Okay. Endocrine glands, they secrete their products into tissues or fluid or blood. Okay, so they're going to generally be secreting hormones. Okay, these hormones are going to then kind of just diffuse into the blood or move into the blood, where they are transported throughout the body to all the different cells. We'll talk more about the endocrine system later on in the year, but they're creating hormones. So there's a million different types, maybe not a million, but a lot of types of hormones in the body. This would be, these types of glands are going to be your pituitary, your pineal gland, your thyroid gland, your adrenal gland, your testes, ovaries, all right, your pancreas, okay, and they're going to be secreting things like adrenaline. They're going to be secreting things like insulin. They're going to be secreting things like growth hormone, okay? And they're going to be secreting that stuff into the blood, and then that's going to reach all the cells that kind of need to hear that message, okay? I think I've talked about it before. It's kind of like Facebook, but we'll just know that endocrine systems secrete their products into fluid or blood, usually blood, or at least that's kind of how, because remember, blood is the highway of the body, and that's kind of how things get around in the body. So that message kind of has to go through there. So I think we'll just leave it there. Let's see, we can keep those. But anyway, have a good day.